If you clicked on this video, you're probably searching for your true self, for that authentic version of you. And if you're in that search, you're in the right place. Discovering that authentic version of yourself will allow you to finally get what you really want in life. It will make you magnetic, and it will improve not only your life, but the lives of your loved ones, of the ones that truly care about you. See, I think the best thing we can do in this life is live true to who we really are and really fulfill our purpose. I see so many people living empty lives, so many people not knowing what it is that they really want to do. And I think it's also because of the social media thing. We're constantly comparing ourselves to others without actually stopping, without looking within. And so with this video, I want to talk about that, and I want it to be really raw, and I want to share also like my story. I still think I'm on the way, right? Like I don't think I've got it all figured out. I'm not a guru trying to give you like the secret of life, but I think I've gone through so much as a man, as a human being, as an entrepreneur, that I got really close, and I'm getting really close to that authentic version of myself. I think if we're talking in terms of frequencies, that's the highest frequency. Because unless you really love who you truly are, unless you're living your truth, you're not gonna be able to truly love others. You're not gonna be able to understand what true love is, because all you're doing is basically playing a part. Most people are doing that. Most people get into relationships without knowing who they really are, without fully living in their truth. Most people are starting businesses without knowing what their core desire is, what their true purpose is. And my question is, if you're someone like that, how can you be successful, truly? And I know success is subjective, but how can you live a purposeful life if you don't really know who you are? So in my case, to kind of give you a backstory, my biggest fear when I was a little kid, my biggest fear was literally not finding my authentic self. If you ask a kid, what's your biggest fear? They're like, not getting what I want for Christmas or whatever. But my biggest fear was not finding myself, not finding my place in this world. I was looking at other people, like teachers, my parents, other kids, thinking, is this it? Like, is this what life is? Because everybody was playing a role. Everybody was faking it, at least in my eyes. Everybody seemed, not everybody, but most people seemed unhappy with their lives, with their jobs, with their relationships. Most people didn't really seem to have a purpose. They weren't driven. They were just floating by. And so that's when taking risks kind of started for me. Ever since I was like a kid in third grade, I started to like create magazines, sell them to the kids in school. Then later on, I discovered like tattoos. I got into writing poetry, discovered music, and then fast forward, I did so many different things. And then I started my businesses. And then finally, we're here now, and I started my personal brand, which allowed me to fully, 99% get close to who I really want to be and what my core purpose is. Taking risks is the best thing you can do if you really want to find that authentic version of yourself. So many people play it safe. So many people, go on that route of get in college, get a job, to start a family, and that's it. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with doing those things. But again, I'm just asking, how can you fully live those experiences? How can you fully, truly offer your 100%, the best things that you have as a partner in a relationship, as a friend, as a businessman, as a leader, as a father or a mother? How can you truly offer your 100% if you're not aligned with who you really are? Because a lot of people, they just want to play it safe. They don't want to take any risks. They don't want to go out exploring. They don't want to try things. I think deep down there's that fear of, what if I fail so bad that I'm just losing myself completely? But the thing is, you haven't even found yourself. Instead of being so paralyzed by that fear, ask yourself, have I actually found myself? Because if you haven't, that's okay. I mean, that's most people. But you gotta go out there and you gotta take risks. Like, that's how I started in my journey. I realized living a fake life, being a fake me, is way more risky than actually taking risks. Because what's the worst that could happen? There is no failure. There are just lessons, and there are ways and opportunities for you to actually improve. And like I said, get closer to that authentic version of yourself. And I know every time I'm saying this, it sounds so poetic, right? It sounds like a fairy tale and out of reach, but I guarantee you, when you find that, and I'm not talking about money. I'm not talking about that kind of like, success. Not talking about any kind of like starting any business, because you can still be yourself even if you have a job. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But the wrong thing about having a job or like doing anything in life is only when your soul is not truly 100% aligned with what you're doing. And this is like, unfortunately, most people. And I've said this in other videos as well, but you gotta look at life like a loading bar, which is constantly going up. For me, it's at like 28%. For you, it might be at 20, 15, 50, but it's constantly going up. And do you want to, like, ask yourself this? Do you want to actually get to the end of your life without knowing who you truly are, without finding yourself truly? And another thing that you gotta keep in mind with all of this, with your journey, is that you gotta stop looking outside. A lot of people, they're just so distracted. They're distracting themselves with partying, with drinking, with drugs, hookups, relationships, all of these different like pleasures. And then they wonder, why isn't anything working? Well, it's not working because you're just trying to find yourself outside of yourself, if that makes sense. And the thing with this is that you need to understand that the answers that you're looking for are only going to be found in solitude. You're only going to find yourself if you stop and if you look within. And that's the scariest thing, looking within, looking yourself in the mirror and analyzing every single pattern that you have, every single bad habit, every single good habit. Trying to ask yourself, why am I like this? Why am I doing the things that I'm doing? To me, it's amazing that most people go through life like that, like without stopping and asking themselves, why am I acting this way? Why am I doing anything? What is my why? Like, what is my purpose? What is my calling? How can you just do stuff like just because you see other people doing it? To me, that's crazy, and that's not a life that I want to live. So if you're in that kind of situation, try to, and I know it's hard, it's probably the hardest thing, because it's so easy, it's so much easier for you to point fingers and for you to say, oh, like, I cannot find myself because of my parents, because of this situation, instead of actually looking yourself in the mirror and holding yourself accountable. When you're on this path, it's not gonna be all sunshine and rainbows. You're going to have to go through a lot of pain, a lot of hardship to truly find who you really are. And in my own case, I had to truly embrace my dark parts. I had to really sit with that dark side of myself, because if I ignored that, I wasn't gonna go through it. Like, the only way to actually get to your authentic self is through these dark moments, through these dark sides of you. And a lot of people, they're trying to hide those, they're trying to ignore those. Instead of facing their trauma, their pain, they're just looking to distract themselves more and more, because facing your issues, your own traumas, embracing those dark parts, And when I say embrace, I'm not just saying like embrace them and just forget about them. Like embrace them, go through them and heal them. A lot of people, like, they don't want to do that because that's fundamentally the scariest thing that you could possibly do in life. But don't distract yourself. If you really want to find who you are, you got to embrace every single dark thing about you. I had some really dark times, some really dark moments, but I found that the truest versions of myself came out in those moments. They show themselves when I was by myself going through it. How else you're gonna find who you really are unless you're allowing yourself to go through the motions? And look, I'm sitting here and I'm telling you all of this, but I'm gonna be the first one who say it, like, it's not gonna be easy. If you expect this to be something that you're gonna do in like 1 week and that's it, this is not the case. This is I would say a lifelong journey. And while on this path, a lot of people will judge you. A lot of people will start to think you're crazy when you're kind of like deprogramming your brain, because that's also something else that you gotta do. Is like, you gotta question, literally like question every single thing that you've been taught. Every single thing that you have in your brain is just programming. And in order to get to that like true core of you, you gotta like take out the programming and you gotta question. And that starts with like you questioning every single thing. And when you start to do that, family members, your parents, your loved ones, they're gonna look at you, like most of them, they're gonna look at you like you're insane. Like, nah, like he lost it, Because most people live a lie. Most people are asleep. Most people don't even know, like I said, why they're doing the things that they're doing. They've never questioned their beliefs. They've never questioned their actions, like truly. And so when you're the one who is in search for truth, you're going to sound crazy. You're going to seem insane to them just for wanting to discover what is actually happening, why everything is happening. So you gotta be prepared for that. You gotta be prepared for judgment, for getting the judgment from others, but also at the same time, what you gotta realize right now is that you're just living life for you. You shouldn't live your life for anyone else. If you want to be successful in any sort of relationship, whether that's friendly or an intimate relationship, in marriage, in business, as a parent, if you really want success in these areas, you got to look within. And you got to realize that if you don't take care of yourself first, if you don't find who you really are, you're not going to be able to fully offer all of your gifts to, the people around you, to the people that really love you. The best thing that you can do, not only for yourself, but also for the others around you, is to work on yourself and find all of these different sides of you, face them, and come out on the other side as the best version of yourself, as the truest version of yourself. Because when you do that, all of your, you're gonna see your life is gonna change, in real time. And it's happening for me right now, and I can't even fully describe it. I'm realizing that as I build my personal brand, as I'm doing this, as I'm literally myself talking to the camera, talking to you right now, I'm getting closer and closer to that, that kid. Because I think, now that I think about it, I think we're kind of like more authentic as kids, right? Because we're not that programmed yet. And I think I'm just trying to get back to that. I'm just trying to, to find that, truly find that this time in my life. And I'm seeing the benefits that other people around me get by me doing this, by me, going through this process. The relationships that I have are so much stronger, so much healthier, so much better because I'm doing the work. And there are a lot of, dark moments as well right now, in which, I have to tell myself that this is just another step. This is just another step for me to actually get to where I need to be as myself. And the truth is, these dark moments actually define who you are. Don't look outside of yourself and don't use distractions to hide the true version of yourself. Go through life, take risks, embrace the loneliness, and use your scars, your trauma, to develop yourself. Peel away all of those layers of programming that you have from your childhood, from society, from school, from whatever. Look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, what is my true purpose here? What is it that I want to do? Because a life without risk, without taking any risk, is the riskiest life that you can ever live. So don't stop searching. I know it's hard. I know it's scary. It still is for me. Like, I have a lot of moments in which I don't even know, like, I'm not even sure what this is, but I know it's worth it. Instead of being someone who's asleep and someone who forever tries to escape their life, instead of building a life that they don't need to escape from.